about that point. That's going to help it break clean. But for the heart, the tip of the heart is actually going to be that end. So I'm going to have to pinch it close, which means I actually want to get it a lot smaller. Now at the same time, I have to be careful that I don't get it so small that it seals up the bubble from the pipe or the sphere will just collapse. But we want to try and get it as close as possible. Now the other kind of issue that creates is we're getting some stability from how wide this little groove is. As we squeeze it smaller and smaller, the glass is going to wiggle around a lot more. Which is why typically we leave it a little bit wider. I actually do that before I heat because if there's too much water on it, it creates this kind of, it's not really a crack, it almost looks like a scar from a burn. It's got this weird like sort of patchy quality that it's picked up from the water. So this is where having that kind of narrow section is cool. It's a little tricky. You need to get it tight enough. As I do that, I just keep a little bit of pressure in the pipe so that the inside walls will touch. Come back and make sure the ball is flopping around. Still got that ball up. After focusing the heat on the end, I know if I heat this to the point where it just starts to move, the tip's probably going to be plenty hot. So when I come out, I can make the lobe I need. I don't have my kitchen pulled in the side of the heater. Usually instead of using the tweeters, I'm going to grab this time and use this because it's got this thin metal edge. That groove is almost more about just cooling the glass a little bit in the very center. That crease. After we kind of get started, actually clean that up a little bit. Tip of the part. This is where we start the hook. This is also an excellent example of a lot of times when we're making things, we'll make the same thing for a while. You can see the first one, I'm like, oh, I forgot this tool and I forgot that tool. It's not a common. So it's like once you get swapping out tools every time, you're going to let this sag in the wrong direction a little bit. So we'll flip it over. It's got a clamp that just prevents the pipe from rolling around. And what we're going to do is heat up this tungsten metal rod. What's interesting about tungsten is unlike most other metals, that down. I don't cut it so much as make it as small as I can and break the end off. So I want to use the torch just until I start to see a little bit of orange. So I take this guy, I can actually blow into that opening. It'll kind of puff things back out. Now, the first time I tried that, the cone on the end of that tool is stainless steel, and on a day like today, it's cold to the touch. The glass where that hole is right at the edge of the hole that the crack. So you have to be careful if you touch it with the metal and cause a little crack. And then what we want to do is just stabilize the temperature a little bit. So blowing on the end is going to kind of do the opposite of the torch. It'll take some of that extra heat out. Again, I don't know what temperature that is, but the movement in the glass is what will kind of reveal it. If I feel movement and see everything's pretty close to the same color, you should be able to do it. Now, to be able to break that off as easily as it came off, one of the reasons it's important that I don't pull on the glass when I was talking about the tip. Because there's a trade-off. It's going to come off easy at the end. It may come off easy in the middle. And it's strange that it's just a very certain kind of type of vibration that we tend to get things to break through. Now the hole that we made is underneath this glass for the loop. So now that everything's hardened up, we don't have to worry about it inflating itself. And so we'll cover up that opening and then nobody needs to watch. So now, if you look at all the hearts, you'll notice you'll see like a little ring of a reflection.